Is by Eddie Singh, and today we are going to discuss one of the burning social issues, that is, the children face peer pressure and pressure of the parents' expectations so far as the career option is concerned. So, career options and peer pressure having been a hurdle in choosing a career. Now, Ankit, we are going to discuss this problem in details. Generally, it has been seen that various parents, thrust upon their children or impose upon them their own expectations. Nowadays, what is happening, that most of the parents are guided by the wave of career option. Wave of career option, I mean that if society demands technocrats, that every parent wants that my child should be a good engineer, good technocrat, good doctor, good professional. And they never bother about what the child's abilities are, what his interest is there, what his likes and dislikes are there. This becomes a hurdle in the path of the growth of the child's potential, because every individual child has a specific potential. A child who can do better in languages cannot do better in technical education. Am I right? Yes. But generally what happens, that parents, force the child to take a career which the child is not interested in. As a result, the child cannot do better. It is clear. So now the very first question, Ankit, I would like to ask you, that to what extent parents are responsible for compelling the child to go for a wrong option, and how does it affect the child's growth in the latter stage? That is my first question.
Okay, sir. One of the main problems that parents face is awareness, because they don't know the all career options that has been provided in the field. People are generally only are aware of a few branches itself, like hotel management and engineering,
medical, and other
these things only.
They know only limited career options. So they don't know that there are thousands of career options, yes, and they are all better.
Yeah, suppose somebody is reading at good somebody is good at reading books. Main problem is that parents don't know, like, this can be also be created into a job.
Right.
It could be done in a professional way. So one problem is awareness, and another problem like the children face is like after choosing wrong career is like although they complete their degree, but they don't get the result, and due to that what happens is like they don't get the proper job, or they don't excel in their job. They don't live up to their full potential.
Very good, very good. That they don't live up to their full potential. Now, this is first, problem. The second most important, reasons we have seen, that the children often, the teenagers, come under peer pressure. Pressure from the siblings or pressure from the peer group. Nowadays, what is happening, that most of the so-called, developed schools, so-called public schools, have one, wave of career, that they just want to excel in technical education. Everybody wants to be an IITian, everybody wants to be, a doctor, everybody wants to be an IS. They don't consider, mass communication as one of the careers. They don't consider, journalism or any other field as equally, covetous. As a result, what happens? Tell me what happens as a result. Tell me what happens. The child is compelled to go for a wrong option. And as you rightly said, that the child cannot excel in the field where he has no interest. Suppose the child is good at, language or good at sports, and you are compelling him to go for, technical education. Definitely he will not excel. He will not be able to fulfill his potential. And that is what is happening in most of the cases. Now, the second most important question that, Ankit, I would like to share with that the atmosphere, the wave in the schools and colleges also affect the child's choice of choosing a career. Am I right? So for this problem, do you think the institution or the community of the parents can help the child go for his own option? How far the institution be helpful to the child in this regard? That is my second question.
Yes, sir. As you stated that the school also plays an important role in deciding
definitely
the career path of a student. And one of the major problem or the major issue that is happening at school is like they themselves are like categorizing that career. Like for example, if a student scores above 90%, then only he is eligible for science. And if a student scores 58%, then he is not eligible for science. But the principal or the school committee doesn't see that it might be possible that those 50% are only of science instead of other subject.
Definitely.
So he must be capable, because they are just seeing over the overall percentage, not at a particular subject.
You're right.
So they themselves are making the division, like
You mean to say that other than percentage of mark, the child's interest and aptitude must be tested separately?
Yeah.
Because he may be good at music. So if a child is doing or excelling well in music, why should he be compelled to go for technical education? Let him learn music, because one of the career option is going for singing. There are so many singers, there are so many musicians who are earning crores of rupees, per year. So the career options can be anywhere. If a child is very good at cricket, let him be given training in cricket. And the school knows better the potential of the child. The institution knows the potential of the child. And knowing well that the child is good at a specific potential, the school can put a special kind of test, aptitude test, and they can categorize the children according to their interest and aptitude. Am I right? So I think institution can be very helpful, and they can work as a catalyst. But more so over, parents intervene into it. That is a big problem. Even in the institution said that, well, look, your child is good at sports. I want to give him a special training in cricket. Let him be given 2 hours training apart from his schooling for a good cricketer. But the parents said, no. What is the, use of playing cricket? How many cricketers go for international game? They will argue in such a way that the parents finally compel the institution to choose his way. Therefore, what should be there? Now, this is a kind of contrast that the parents do not want to compile or comply to the suggestions of the institutions, and the institution want to give the child freedom to choose the career. Then what happens? There is a third, force that can work. Parents together with the teachers, the counselors, can, sort out this problem. And if there is a possibility, they can also understand that after all, career is everywhere.
Yes, sir.
See, there are thousands of career options. If a space scientist wants to go into a space, you compel him to do anything, he will never do. If let us say, if a person is interested in doing linguistic courses and you compel him to go for engineering, definitely he will not do well. He will get a degree. That is another thing. Getting an engineering degree is not the sole aim of going for a career.
Yes,
Career options finally demands the child's excelling in that field. So talents are not confined to degree, diploma. And what the present education system is there, it is also responsible for all these wrong choices. The present education system doesn't underline the need of choosing a career which is non-conventional. Look at that, I am telling you. See now, if a child wants to go for, let us say, architecture, if a child wants to go for dramatism, he wants to become an actor, acting, he wants to go for, television and media, he wants to do mass communication. The parents say, how many of the, your friends are actors? They will put the question. How many of them are successful directors? So these questions always confuse the child. And certainly there is no strong argument in favor of the child. So Ankit, in that regard, what are your suggestions?
So,
the child is confused with these, the argument of the parents and the society. At that time, he's in dilemma whether to listen to the parent or whether to listen to the society where he has to live. So in that bit, in between these two, what should the child do?
Sir, what I would like to say here is that society also sees the status of the people, like how well he is earning. If you are earning well, everybody will come and talk to you, or even if you are not earning well, like people will try to avoid you. So, and in the beginning, everybody says, no, you can't do it, no, this is not good, or this is not right for you. But you need to believe within yourself, you should know, like, no, these are my skills, and I can, if I work upon it, I can excel. And
And there are innumerable examples.
Yeah.
Nobody
And
would
there are
have
very-
thought that Dhoni, who was very poor at his studies,
Studies.
could have
Could do
become
wonders.
one of the richest person of our country.
Yeah, that's
So it is not like that. If the child is not given freedom, even his father had objected at the time when Dhoni was to
Playing
go for
cricket.
training. But later on, Dhoni proved it. So what I feel that sometimes the society is also a hurdle. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So then how to sort out this problem?
Sir, as I told you, the main problem is like awareness. People are not aware. Like people in every region can succeed and can excel.
Who can make them aware?
Yeah.
Because there are ample of the
There are many
career
things,
options
sir.
are exploding every moment. The media is now the internet has given the parents all the access to know what are the career options.
Career options.
Thousands of career options are being loaded on internet. A child can understand what are the career options available to him, and accordingly he can choose. But the thing is that if despite all these knowledge and awareness, parents go by tradition. That my elder child did MTech and from an IIT, so I would prefer you to go for IIT. Everybody is guided by what do you call it, the tradition. But the fact is that modern age is not the age of tradition.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes,
was say.
there are children. Yesterday you saw some young children were awarded by the president on this 26th, and they have done a very small contribution, but in a specific area where they have been recognized. So if their contribution have been recognized,
Yes,
why can't a child? So the need is that everyone, parent must give acknowledgement to the child's ability and give proper attention of nurturing. See, I can tell you, other than the teachers, parents are the best nurturer of the talents. So they should give proper attention to what the child is doing. If a child is very weak in maths, let us say, and if you have compelled him to go for engineering, do you think he will be successful?
Yeah, he will never be successful.
But he may be very good at other areas, maybe good at music, maybe good at drawing, maybe good at other areas, like he may be a very good dramatist, he may be a good chess player, he may be an intelligent a sportsman. But then the question arises that why can't parent and teachers and other people understand the child's specific ability? Why they degrade, why they underline why do they compel the child to do that? That is the question. Now, my question is very important. You think, now as a youngster, that your brother should be given freedom to do what he likes, what are his interests. The society, to some extent, have other expectations. Parents have their own expectations. That is the biggest problem. But there is a nice, encouraging thing that is being done nowadays, that children are exposed to the outer world. Am I right? They are interacting with the social media. And the social media is also now spreading awareness to the parents. So I think in the age of electronic media, parents should now understand that only engineering and medical and professional courses are not the courses. There are
many courses.
innumerable courses available to the child. Let the child decide what he wants. And therefore, the role of the parents stands as paramount. And here the parents have to monitor the child's ability and the growth of his interest.
Interesting.
And now the third important question is that even when the child has chosen a career which is of his choice, but somehow he gets, obstacles. He is not able to pull on his ability later at the higher stage. What should be the role of the parents at that regard? The child is lagging somewhere.
Yeah.
Due to certain
Parents,
problems.
what parents could do is like they could encourage their child, make him remember from what enthusiasm, from what passion he started upon working upon it. And he might have some inner strength or some inner power kind of thing, like he can work upon it. Since he has already has chosen that path, so it is very clear that he likes it. And if you're liking and you're doing something, then I'm pretty much sure he may excel.
What specific age do you think is there in schools where career counselors should visit the school and talk to the children?
Mostly class 10 students require this counselor, because see,
Can't it be at class 8 and 9 stage?
yeah, class 8 and 9, it's all right, but sir, see, the students are very young at that age. They also might get misleaded by the
Definitely.
so like in class 10, children are pretty much mature enough to decide.
Would you
what
like
they
to
want
suggest
be.
some of the specialists like psychiatrists, some
Counselors.
career counselors
Yes,
to be allowed to come to schools and colleges?
Yeah, they should definitely. That is the thing. They should be allowed. They should have interaction session with the children of those classes, so that they could decide. They should tell them or they could even personally ask the students what
You mean to
counsel
say
them.
that the counselor should frequently visit the schools?
Yes, sir.
Achha, okay. Other than academic qualification, what should be the two more criteria for allowing the child to go for a career option other than academic qualification? Academic qualification
Yes,
is
sir.
primary. That is primary. Every child has to be decided by his performance in school. But other than that, what are the two other important, index of choosing career?
One of the things that they could do is they could set up interviews with the students.
One-to-one interaction.
Yeah,
Very good.
That would definitely the interviewer might assess him very easily. Is the child doing a right thing by taking this career?
Do you
or
think
not?
a psychological test is also essential?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Achha.
That's why I was asking for the interview, because that person can assess whether this
Interview
guy is,
followed by psychological
yes,
test.
sir. So
Very
that
good.
he could assess if he is going in the right direction or he is misleaded.
Well, children of low economic, background, they don't understand the importance of career. They know only that either you have to go for engineering or for medical, or otherwise you have to go for BS and BA. What would be your suggestion for the parents who are not educationally qualified? They are not much qualified. They are very ordinary people. They don't have any idea about how the child is doing and what the child is doing. What would you do in that case when the parents are little educated, ordinary people, common man?
See, those common men generally what stops them from choosing their career is the fear. One of the main thing is fear. If my son will choose this career, is it sure or it is secure? And
But the
that-
parents are not at all aware what to do.
Yes,
They're totally in darkness whether my child is going on
Then
X
child-
direction or Y
then-
direction.
Yeah, then
No, what the child will decide or who will decide?
there's your parents' teacher meeting, sir.
The parents are not at all aware what is the career. They just want that my child
Yeah.
should earn. There are thousands of parents in our society who want that my child should earn at the stage of 20 or 21. Whether he is earning by selling the vegetable or whether by doing any other business, doesn't matter. They want the money to come in the house. They want bread. They want, living standard.
Yes, sir.
They don't want, that a child should be like a good businessman or a good entrepreneur or good technocrat. They don't have any idea about that. Then what would be our role?
Sir, more importantly, it's not our role. The role will be of the student itself or the child itself.
But the child is not able to decide. No, the child is
Yeah,
from a
it's-
low economic class. The
But-
problem is
but,
that
But sir, that's the thing, sir. But the child always knows what his interests are.
yes.
And based upon that, as you
That
told-
means the parents should trust what the child
yeah,
is
they
doing.
should
Is
have
better.
faith in them, in their
And
children.
The parents must have
Faith
faith
in
in them. That's what I'm telling.
Yes, sir.
Whether the parents are educated or uneducated doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
They should have trust in their child's ability and they should allow the child to decide what he wants
What
to
he
do.
wants to do.
So should we conclude that the role of choosing a career should be in the hands of the child
Children
rather than in the parents and the institution. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So that note we are concluding that the role of choosing a career should rest in the hands of the child, because the child ultimately has to face the challenges. Am I right?
Of the life.
And with the suggestions and of course with the interaction of the parents and institution, the problem can be sorted out. Problem can be.
Sorted out.
Thank you, Ankit. You have given a very nice suggestion. Thanks a lot.